Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at a weird deck, which has done really quite well over in Japan. It top cut very highly at the 1,500 person tournament, but we don't have a deck list. What we do know is the main cards in the deck, so we can say quite a bit about it, and we can look at what it is, and we can look at what it does. And it all revolves around Garchomp and Giratina Tag Team GX. A Tag Team GX which has been doing really quite well over in Japan. The real highlight of this is the attack that for free energy, 1 psychic, 1 fighting, 1 colorless, does 240 damage, just so long as a defending Pokemon already has damage counters on. And we'll talk about how to get to that in a little bit. But that's kind of what it is, that's kind of what it does. And if they've got damage counters on, then you're not really doing 240, you're doing 250, 260, 270. This is Tag Team GX KOing territory. Plus, it is in and of itself a Tag Team GX. Now, to be fair, it's got 270 HP, but the weakness is not great. It's not bad. It's weak to Gardevoir and Sylveon Tag Team GX. Sylveon and Gardevoir, which is alright. That deck sees a little bit of play, sees a little bit of love, sees a little bit of success. It's not the best deck ever, but it is a legitimate deck which is top cutting over in Japan and seeing some success. So make no mistake about it, it is a good deck, something you should be worried about. But outside of that, there's not too much that's going to get a one-hit KO. One of the things that's amazing here is it's got 270 HP. And the 270 HP is absolutely crucial because Reshiram and Charizard Tag Team GX does 230. Which means with a choice band, they do 260. Which means they are not getting a one-hit KO. And that is absolutely huge. They are getting a one-hit KO on Gardevoir and Sylveon. They are getting a one-hit KO on Pikachu and Zekrom, but they are not getting a one-hit KO on you. And that is one of the big things you've got going for here. You're not getting one-hit KO'd by the best deck in the format. Okay. Now, the energy here is kind of awkward, but we don't mind. Because you're only playing a few fighting energy. You play Viridian Forest, Stadium card, discard a card from your hand, and then search your deck for a basic energy. That's cool. We're fine with this, ladies and gentlemen. Because it doesn't matter. You can play a couple, you can find it, we're good. And then we need to get 2 other energy on there, and we go Psychic Energy, fairly obviously, because we can play Malamar. Except this isn't a Malamar playing deck. It's a Shining Mew deck. So the big question we have here, why are we playing Shining Mew? Here's the thing, right? Shining Mew has 30 HP, which means it can be one-hit KO'd on the bench by a Buzzwole, by a Latios, by a Pheromosa and Buzzwole. There are Pokemon that can hit 30 to the bench. Having said that, we've also got the Mew that's coming up. So cool. Mew's got your back, ladies and gentlemen. Mew's got bench barrier. So all you need to do is get a Mew on the bench. And I quite like the idea here that Mew will save Shining Mew, and then on the bench is not a problem. Now, it will be KO'd in the active super, super easily. But given that we don't... Well, I suppose we've got Sky Pillar as a bench barrier. But then again, Sky Pillar can be removed by Field Blower, so no, let's not go for that. But now that we've got Mew, we don't mind. Mew is not the problem it used to be, or Shining Mew, because Mew's here to help you out. It does get a little bit confusing. But you're still going to be KO'd in the active, so why don't we care? And the reason we don't care is extremely simple. You're playing a Tag Team GX. So what you do here, rather simply, is you don't care about getting KO'd. And what you do is you let your opponent KO 2 Shining Mew. Now, if you've got a bench barrier Mew, it gets a bit more awkward. Maybe you need to play a Giovanni's Banishment, for instance, just so that you can discard it off the bench You need to make sure it's undamaged, but given that it protects your bench Pokemon, it should be, because it shouldn't be hit on the bench. Giovanni's Exile it got translated as. So maybe you can play that to get rid of it. The point is, you don't mind your opponent taking 2 prizes. Because here's the thing. You're a Tag Team GX. When your opponent KOs you, they take 3 prizes. So what you do here is extremely simple. You let your opponent take 2 prizes and you don't care. You then go hard with Garchomp and Giratina. Your opponent takes 3 prizes. They're down to 1 prize remaining. But as long as Garchomp and Giratina is the only Pokemon out, they have got to KO it and take 3 prizes to win the game. So they might have only a single prize remaining before they win, but they've still got to take out a 270 HP Pokemon to do it. And then, of course, you start playing around with stuff like Ace Roller and kind of laughing in their face. Nicely, of course. We all want to be nice here. You will have to play Giovanni's Exile to get rid of stuff like Mew on the bench. That's just something you've got to do. But this works. And then what you do is you use Shining Mew to go a little bit nuts and just get your energy out. 1 Psychic Energy, which you're playing anyway, search your deck for up to 2 energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Every Shining Mew will essentially set up 1 Garchomp and Giratina, because you'll get 2 energy on, and then at any point in the future when you're about to attack, you attach the 3rd energy and you're off and rolling. Kind of cool, right? And that's essentially the essence of the deck. You use Shining Mew to set up Garchomp and Giratina. You clear your field, probably using Giovanni's Exile. I don't have the deck list, but that's one way you definitely could go about it. And then you force your opponent to KO 2 Tag Team GXs when they've got 4 prizes remaining. And then you're one-hit KOing anything. And you don't discard the energy on Garchomp and Giratina. So essentially, as long as you've got 1 or 2 of these rolling, probably 2, then you should one-hit KO Tag Team GX, one-hit KO Tag Team GX. Against Reshiram and Charizard, you KO 2 of them, you win, and they're not one-hit KOing you. That's how you win. That's how you win the prize trade. And yeah, maybe they are KOing a Shining Mew or 2 at the beginning of the game. You don't care. You really don't. Because the other thing you can really take advantage of here is Reset Stamp. Reset Stamp is a one-sided end. Your opponent shuffles a hand into their deck and draws a number of cards equal to their remaining prizes. So what you can do here is just give up a couple prizes in the early game, and then when your opponent takes a Tag Team GX KO, you Reset Stamp them down to 1 card in their hand. This is why I love the Shining Mew variant. Now, with the ridiculous HP, there is a chance that you do end up giving up too many prizes, or that you just don't set up well enough, etc. That's a risk you've got to take. Because the fact of the matter is, if you can get 2 of these going when your opponent's taking 2 prizes, and you can clear your board, you should win. Because you're one-hit KOing basically anything, and then as soon as they take a KO, you Reset Stamping them down to 1. And that's why I love this variant. I think the Malamar variant is clearly the safer option. You just get the energy on. But this is the option where you really start playing around with stuff like Reset Stamp, and also not having to evolve up, and not having to wait a turn, and not having to accelerate energy on the bench and then get into the active. Now, the other thing you have got to think about is getting damage on the defending Pokemon. Really here, we're probably looking at Giratina, though we could also use Tapu Koko. The thing is, you don't want to use Tapu Koko to spread damage with an attack, while you're also trying to use Shining Mew to accelerate energy with an attack. So I think you are probably left with Giratina here. But again, it's another Pokemon that's sitting on the bench. So I really do think you're probably relying on Giovanni's Exile. Because the thing here is, right, that if you just get your opponent to 4 prizes remaining, but you leave like a Giratina on the bench, then they KO 1 Tag Team GX and a Giratina. And if they KO the Giratina first, you don't get the Reset Stamp shenanigans because they're getting a KO before, and then they only need to take 3 prizes, so they can just KO 1 Tag Team GX, and that's a bit of a pain for you. So you do need to be conscious of your bench here. I'm not saying this is better than the variant that plays Malamar, though I am telling you that the highest top cut in Japan at the 1,500 person tournament was the Shining Mew variant. But then again, the most popular top cut was the Malamar variant, so you could even be looking at something as simple as just matchups making a difference. Not saying it was, but I am saying that that could be an explanation. Either way, it's a new way to play what is clearly one of the best decks, and that makes me a little bit excited. But I'd like to know how excited you are, so please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but please do remember to be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.